Ali Drew for Boxing Social in association with Betfred, and I'm joined by Tom Loeffler, who is here in Vegas with Triple G. How are you feeling?
I feel good. Anytime we're in Vegas for a big fight like this, it's always a good feeling. We had the grand arrivals yesterday. Good turnout yesterday. Still tension between both guys. We saw it in the face-off, and I feel good. Triple G's in great shape and ready to fight on Saturday night.
Now, 4 years in the making for this fight. How good is it to finally be on fight week and this is going to happen?
It's good. You know, this should have happened. The third fight should have happened because the first two fights were controversial in decision, so it should have happened a long time ago, 2019, really. But you know, it's better late than never, I guess, is the best way to put it. And with the additional 6 pounds now, I think that gives Gennady an advantage in terms of being heavier and Canelo coming down. So it'll be interesting to see. I mean, Gennady is 40. There's no denying that. But he's a great shape in 40. And I think if anyone can do it at that level at 40 years old, because this is really the highest level of boxing, I think Triple G can do it.
Yeah, you mentioned the weight there. So first time up at this weight.
Yep.
I mean, for some people that would be seen as a negative, they're stepping up weight, but do you think it's the right time for him to be pushing weight? Was he struggling to make the middleweight before?
No, he made it easy. We saw with the Murata fight, in the unification fight in Japan. I mean, it's really hard traveling across the world, making weight that way with different foods and things like that, but he wasn't struggling at middleweight at all. It's just at 168, it gives him the extra luxury and extra weight because he does have a bigger frame than Canelo does. And so that's why we think that'll give him an advantage on Saturday night. That's one thing that we haven't seen. That'll be interesting for the fans, is that we haven't seen in the first 2 fights them fight at 168. So we'll see if that turns out to be a different story. We still think he won the first 2 fights, but hopefully the judges will see some of the close rounds. I mean, there'll be close rounds. There's no questions, but hopefully they'll give Triple G some of the close rounds this time.
And he was saying he's enjoying his food this week. He's having double dinners. Yeah. I mean, a happier fighter.
Extra tacos, he said.
So he's a happier fighter in fight week.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, if you're not, again, he could make 160, but naturally at 168 he doesn't have to work as hard to make it. So he's in a good mood. It's for him, it's a business, it's a sport, and he doesn't have the same aggression towards Canelo, which Canelo, with those decisions that he got, should be happy to see Triple G, you know. But you know, Triple G is just looking at this as getting another opportunity to have Canelo in the ring.
Now, you mentioned the controversial decisions from the previous 2 fights. From sort of Triple G's camp perspective, are you wanting Triple G to get out of there early, get the job done, not let it go to the judge's decision based on what's happened previously? I
mean, that's the ideal situation. You know, if he can get a stoppage, then you take it out of the judge's hands, and then there's no controversy there. It just, you know, neither guy had been really hurt in the first 2 fights, so it's hard to predict either one will get stopped. But you know, if Triple G with the extra weight, a little bit extra punching power to his already, you know, formidable punching power, then if he can stop him, that's naturally the ideal situation.
Do you worry going into this fight about the judges' decisions again? Having, you know, in your words, been burnt twice before?
I don't. After 24 rounds, I can't figure out the judges' scoring on it, you know, and it's not a knock on any one particular judge. It just seems to be when Canelo fights in Las Vegas, we saw the same thing with the Bivol fight. You know, he had Bivol, I mean, Canelo won the first 4 rounds on the judges' cards, and I think pretty much most people thought Bivol won at least 2 of those first 4 rounds. So it's hard to fathom and hard to predict how the judges are going to score. But it always seems, for one reason or another, Canelo gets a couple extra rounds more than what most people think that he deserved. So, you know, again, Gennady has to be very emphatic. Has to, I think he's got to push Canelo back in terms of forcing the action and landing the bigger punches. And it's not a secret formula. If he can be accurate, Bivol was very accurate. You got to give him that. He was pushing Canelo back, so you could see that he really imposed his will on Canelo. And I think at 168. We'll see Gennady be able to do something similar.
Was the fact that, you know, Vegas is the location again for this fight, did you hesitate on making that? Did you want it somewhere else?
There's so many great locations that these guys could fight.
Do you prefer it not to be Vegas?
We have nothing against, we love the MGM, we love T-Mobile. Nevada Commission, we always get along with the commission. It just seems like if you have those two controversial scores before, you might want to look for a different venue. Canelo definitely wanted to come back here in Las Vegas, but these guys have such a big fan base. They could fight in New York at Madison Square Garden, where Canelo's fought before, and Triple G has sold out the arena. They both sold out the arena before. They could fight in Dallas at Cowboys Stadium. They could fight even in LA at the SoFi Stadium there. So there was a lot of good options there, but from what I understand, Canelo really wanted to come back here to Vegas. So, you know, that's where we're at.
Here we are.
And he's the champ. Oh, one different thing, and not to interrupt you, but one different thing in this fight also, besides that was different in the first two fights, is Canelo's now defending his titles, where Triple G was defending his titles against Canelo in the first two fights. So, you know, hopefully that changes something in with the dynamics of this fight and the scoring, and we'll see. You know, whoever wins is the undisputed super middleweight champion, and that's a big accomplishment. And you know, these fights, you know, Canelo needs Triple G to get these big fights, and same thing with Triple G needs Canelo. And you know, that's why I think they really complement each other with their fan bases.
Now, you mentioned, you know, the undisputed titles. If Triple G wins that on Saturday night, he becomes the second person to do that in super middleweight behind Canelo ever. Once he achieves that, if he achieves that, what is he wanting still? He's achieved so much in the sport. What is he still wanting to achieve in the sport of boxing? You've mentioned he's 40 years old now. Is that him content at what he's achieved, or is he wanting more?
Well, Gennady doesn't have to fight. If he didn't want to fight, he doesn't have to fight. He's financially set. He loves the sport. He's always loved the training. You know, some people hate going to training camp and losing the weight, and Gennady has no problem with that. It's actually camaraderie for him. And so win or lose, you know, he hasn't mentioned anything about retirement to me. And like I said, he even has still the unified middleweight title. So I could see if he's successful on Saturday, him defending the super middleweight titles then.
So potentially a lot more to come from Triple G.
I think there's a lot more knockouts to come. How long, I don't know, but it's not like he's saying, okay, this is my last fight, and then I'm going to start spending more time with the family or something like that. He really enjoys being in the ring. He enjoys the training. He always stays fit. That's why at 40 years old, he looks, I mean, you'll see his body on at the weigh-in, that he looks chiseled and in tremendous shape.
Well, thank you for your time, and we'll catch up during the fight week.
Sounds good. Thank you.
Thank you.